What's up, everyone? Today we are looking at the Jetco grabber, also known as the Powerhobby grabber. At least here in the US, these are sold by Powerhobby as Powerhobby grabbers, although on the sidewall they are marked Jetco. As common with some of this stuff, I don't really understand what the relationship is. Whether Powerhobby bought Jetco or Jetco's making Powerhobby tires or what the deal is, but we're going to go with the Jetco name, or with the Powerhobby Jetco. I don't know. There's a couple other tires like this, like the Defender and the who's something or another that Powerhobby sells as their name, but it says Jetco on the sidewall. But then I think there's other ones where it actually says Powerhobby on the sidewall, so I don't know. Not sure what compound these are in. I'm not sure if they come in more than one compound. I can't remember. You'll already know because it'll be in the description and in the title, but it's got a pink dot on the sidewall, and it's like super soft or something. I can't remember what they call it. But the grabber is a pin tire, and we are seeing some side slide on the side hill from the grabber. And it is now time to turn up. Of course, we are taking the low line, which is the more challenging line. Steeper, and you have more cracks and divots in the rock to contend with. Passenger side front, getting a little bit of lift time. Able to set that back down. It's going to lift again here when the rear tire hits that crack. Right now, how much lift? We're going to get the pivot. Nope. Oh, bad throttle. Did I just... Whew. That was a throttle mistake. Overcorrected. I could have recovered that, but my twitchy, itchy throttle finger kind of made a mistake there. I think we'll get that low line though. Lots of side slip coming onto the obstacle, and in some of these areas where there's just enough of a, surface differentiation in the rock to kind of cause us to break traction. We slip quite a bit. Now, some of that could be due to the pin lug. I find that chevron tires and pin lug tires and tires with a kind of a closed lug design where the lugs are closer together tend to slide. Although this pin tire, the lugs aren't that close together. But yeah, lots of side slip there. We might not be able to pull out of this one. There we go. Set that front end back down. Yeah, that rear really wants to slide. I think we might be in trouble here. Okay, let's get that turn up started. A little less drastic. There we go. Pivot that rear end around. See if I can do it a little more without picking that passenger front up too much. Set it down. Oop, there's coming up again. I want to set that passenger front down. I want to keep that down. If I can keep it close to the ground, we'll get this. This is, at this point, as much steering and, it's steering work, throttle work, and suspension of the rig as it is tire grip until we get that pivot from the rear, which it is not giving me. Interestingly, this thing slides like heck when I don't want it to, and now that I want it to pivot, it's not giving it to me. Now we're going to be in trouble because I'm not able to set that front end down. So we got too far over to the side. So we're going to take now the high line, which typically is a little less difficult. Ooh, that front. I hope that this is just the angle that I'm at and the suspension. This obstacle has a tendency to break rod ends. And I think we might have a front rod end that's broken or bent or something. I'll take a look at it after this obstacle. I just can't get that pivot when I need it. So traversing across the side hill is not great. Lots of side slip. And then when we try to reposition, I'm not getting the pivot from the rear end. It slides when you're going completely sideways. But then when you start to go up, that's where it really does grab. There we go. There's a little pivot. Sometimes this could be improved as the tire scrubs in a little bit, but I think the grabber is just not that great at side hilling. I think we might be okay on the rod ends. We'll still give it a quick inspection. Today inside the grabbers we are running I believe these are the GTR RC dual stage foams, similar to a Tim 10 or like a Proline dual stage, but only $19 for a set of 4. Pretty good foams overall. Alright, the grabber's on the side hill. Blech. Even getting off the side hill, kind of an issue. Let me go just pick the rig up, and I'm going to go ahead and inspect those rod ends while I'm at it. Alright, we're good. If it looks like fall, even though you're viewing this probably in March of 2026, right now for me it is November of 2025, as I am getting content staged to get me through the winter. Today is actually Veterans Day. So if you're a veteran, even though for you it's no longer Veterans Day, thank you for your service and everything you do for our country. No significant issues there. Most tires have to use a little wheel speed to get through the lip on that obstacle. If you've seen any of my other videos of pin tires, you know that I'm not really the biggest fan of pin tires. I don't quite get the hype. Maybe I shouldn't say hype. I don't know how much hype there is around pin tires, but I don't know. I just don't think pin tires perform that much better than regular tires, and so far, especially the grabber, is emphasizing that point. Not impressed on the side hill. Right here on the crab walk, we're not doing that well. It's not awful, but it's not great. Now, of course, this could be compound. All pins are not created equal, just like any lug. But there's just something about a pin tire that I'm not really in love with personally. But it is neat to see class 2 pins, because for a long time, you know, we've had like RC 4-wheel drive bullies for a long time and lots of 2.2 pin tires for a long time. But class 2 sized 1.9 pin tires have been more difficult to come by until the last, probably year or so. So it's good to see that as an option for those who want a pin tire. Yeah, here we're dealing with there we go. Look at them slide, like with the steering, it's just, they slide more than I would expect. Let's grab a cover photo. Now, Powerhobby slash, what was that? Heard some weird sound. Powerhobby slash Jetco have never been like the most amazing tires I've driven. I like the Defender quite a bit, or the Armor quite a bit, the Powerhobby Armor. It's a pretty good tire, but you know, it's one of those tires that I would say is more of a perform better than I thought it would, rather than, you know, a top performing tire. I think really what it comes down to is the compound that they use. I mean, it feels pretty good. The grabbers here, it's a nice thin compound. It's nice and soft. It feels relatively sticky in your hand. You know, the tires stick to each other decently. You don't get the J Concepts stick. But at the end of the day, the compound doesn't seem to work that well for me. And, you know, I'm out here on sandstone for the most part. Most of what I crawl on is sandstone, which if I measure against a lot of kind of rocks, it's pretty high grip. And Powerhobby tires just have never been the top performers out here. Okay, come on. I thought we were going to get a really good pull up there. There we go. That's not bad. And the sad part is the grabber and the grabber and Powerhobby tires in general are really not that cheap. These are $30 for a pair of two, so you're looking at $60 for a set of these, and then you need foams on top of that. And as you know, I mean, they do come with foams. They come with a single stage open cell foam, a nice soft memory foam like a Proline foam. But I say you need foams because we don't run factory foams around here. We don't run single stage open cell foams because they just don't work that well. Yes, fixed that obstacle a couple videos ago, maybe one video ago, and that's excellent. But $60 plus foams or inserts, or I guess even if you choose to run the factory one, $60 for a set of, I hesitate to say no name, but you know, kind of no name tires. It's hard to stomach that. We're not doing terrible here on the initial pull up. I think we might be able to get this without hooking sidewall. Yeah, okay. So forward drive looking pretty good there on the incline. The majority of tires have to come over and hook their side lug to get up that obstacle, which is kind of the original intent of that obstacle. But if you can do it without hooking side lug, we let it happen, and that's typically a good sign. So just as I'm talking about how the grabbers are overpriced and underperforming, we pull off something that most tires can't do. It's not necessarily a small list of tires that can do that, but in the grand scheme of things, when you know, we've reviewed, just so far since I've been doing this on the channel, we've reviewed, well, by the time you watch this, probably close to 100, maybe more sets of tires. Let's do it at the time of filming. See if we can get that rear diff hang. Okay, we missed the rear diff hang. Try it again. There it is, but I drove too fast over it. There we go. Okay, can we pull off the diff hang? Now I've gone further over than I wanted to. This might not be able to pull up. That's a tire size issue, not a compound or a lug issue. At the time of me filming this, I've got roughly 70 videos of tire reviews, and maybe 5 have been able to walk up that obstacle back there without hooking the side lug. So, you know. Okay, well, with the height of the tire stuffed with that foam, we're not able to get the rear diff hang. Might be a few more than 5, but it's like less than 10 tires have been able to walk up that without hooking sidewall. So let's see how it does on our second incline. Okay, nice slow pull onto the obstacle, easy slow walk up the obstacle, and yeah, it can take the wheel speed to get off. Sometimes you need wheel speed to dismount this obstacle because of the angle, because if you don't have wheel speed, you'll just hang your links or your skid on the edge. But some tires that lack good grip, when you blip the throttle to give yourself that little added wheel speed, the wheels will either just spin on the rock or bad things can happen sometimes. So that's pretty good. Now onto the trail. So right now our trail is covered in these fall leaves, making it more difficult, A, because there is less traction, but B, although it's finally starting to get cleared off from driving it, it is difficult for me to see my path that I need to drive, and so I'm not coming onto some of these obstacles the right way. Come on, get the pull up. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's deceptively easy on camera. Right here on the rock, you can kind of see a line. That's a good 1.5 inch just ledge there, and it's right by the ground, and so quite a few tires actually struggle with that lead. Now we're hung center skid. This is because I can't see. Ooh, push the front end right up and off of there. Yeah, there we go. Well, can we get the pull? There we go. That's not bad. Oh, that wind. Getting closer to the top of my hill. That wind is picking up. I'm not sheltered anymore. And we do loose gravel hill climb. Again, coated in leaves. Might have to resort to a little more throttle than we would if there were no leaves here, but we should be able to, for the most part, dig down to the ground still. But again, when I can't see the ground, sometimes I get just hung up on a big rock and I get caught not filming the truck. All right, we are hung up on a little scale tree. All right, that's not bad. All right, so what do we think of grabbers? You know, they're okay, I guess, if you're into pin tires. They did horrible in the side hill. They didn't really do bad anywhere else. They were pretty good overall. If you really want a pin tire, I think there's been better pin tires out there. I think so far the best pin tire that I've tested, it's probably been the Reef's, what do they call theirs? Cheater. But I've only tested the gray. I haven't even tested the pink. So I need to get some cheaters in pink. And I think that'll probably be the best class 2 pin tire I've tested. But as of right now, I've tested those. I've tested a mixed racing one. I've now tested these. I've tested the S4 compound Injora pin, comp pin. I've got the XHX pins, but I haven't run them yet. It's hard to recommend these. They're not an awful tire, but at $60 for a set, they're not doing better than tires that are comparably priced. And yeah, I don't get that excited about a pin tire. Sorry for the lack of enthusiasm, but if you want a pin tire, I think you can do better than the grabber. Have a good day, everybody.